Hey, what's good? It's your girl Pika here in Singapore, and I am live once again on the 2nd of January. So today was a big day for me. I don't know about y'all, but it was supposed to be the first day back to work, but I got a message at like, I don't know, 4 something this morning. Well, I saw it at 4 something this morning, just talking about, whether I was going into work today or not. My boss was kind enough to let me off today. My schedule is kind of flexible, mostly because it really depends on when they need, me to be in the office, as far as kids coming in for classes, just generally work being done, workshops coming up, whatever. So, very, very lucky, very grateful that I got to have the day off today. And mostly because baby girl's first day of school was today. She did wake up on time. She went to bed at a decent hour yesterday. She went to bed by like 9 yesterday, but for the first time she didn't give me any trouble. She just got into bed and like went right to sleep. So yeah, I woke her up at 6:30. We got her dressed and everything and walked her down in time to school. And today they had such a thing as called starting right, or some program to that effect. Basically being that because they're first graders and it's the very, very first day outside of a preschool, and it's a little bit different because it's a lot bigger. There's lots of kids. There's so many places to go and do and see, and they had to learn a lot. To ease both the parent and the child's stress levels a little bit, they allowed the parents to come in today for most of the day. Now, I went in and we all met up in the main assembly hall, and she lined up with her class or whatever, and then we sat down according to class as well. The parents were sectioned off by class as well. So basically we had a quick good morning welcome assembly, and we were dismissed by class, meaning that when the students got up and left with their form teacher, we were allowed, as their parents, to follow along and go take a seat at the back of the classroom, basically, to be around, to help them feel comfortable in the classroom and get to know the form teacher a little bit and get to know the rules and what's expected of the kids as well. So I was kind of happy about that. I had no doubt in her. I knew she'd be fine anyway. But the reason I went is because I also needed to talk to the teacher and make sure she knew that I'm yanking her out of school for a little while, and I'm prepared to do the work and make sure she's on top of everything, as long as she's able to get us the work ahead of time or whatever. So yeah, so from there we sat down, we talked to them or whatever. Their lunch is referred to as recess here in Singapore. For me, recess means a break, and then lunch is lunch. But they said recess is generally, because they're in school already at 7:15, recess is from 9:45 to 10:15. It's about a half an hour. They get to go and eat lunch, and they actually have stalls in the cafeteria. It's almost like a kopitiam. Different stalls cooking different food, and they are expected to bring $3 in cash with them when they go, so that when they go and buy their own food, they learn the math of money, basically, right off the bat. So that's a little daunting to me, because I remember putting my kid in Phoenix Elementary School out in Hampton, Virginia. We had like an account, so we topped up the account, and she just used her ID card or whatever to tap and get some food. So that was a little bit smarter, I think, only because you don't have people that are going to come after you for money. You're not going to lose money. It's a little bit easier. She's 6, man. Like, I don't expect her to understand money, but I mean, $3 isn't that bad. Whatever. I'll just go with the flow and see what happens. So yeah, so 9:45 they were supposed to get up and go to the canteen, basically, and get their food. They were paired up with kids from 6th grade. So they butted up with someone from 6th grade. My girl was so excited, she actually left her water bottle and her money in the classroom and ran out, and then happened to see me in, the cafeteria, and was like, did you give me money? And I was like, hold up, let me go find all this stuff. Let me go get it from your bag. So I went, retrieved it, and brought it back to her. And yeah, I left at that point because I was starving. So I got her, I let her go get lunch and sit with her friends or whatever, and she was back in her classroom by the time I came back. Now, they did have a parent seminar at 10 o'clock, so I came back in time for that, mostly because I wanted to see what they were going to teach us. So they talked to us about, curriculum from 1st through 6th grade curriculum, the PAL program, the PE program, the various activities and stuff that they could be involved in as they, go through the various grades. So that was kind of interesting, but I was already falling asleep because it was super dry. I couldn't keep awake. At that point, I left by about 11 o'clock. I left and went back home, and she was, left to her own devices. Now, she was out of school by 1:45. It was a little bit chaotic to pick her up because it was like a mob scene in the front of the school. Obviously, first day of school, right? So I'm not sure how long that'll be like that, but for the most part, because they were P1, they're primary one, we were told to come right in and go straight to the hall, and we could pick them up from the hall. Went in, picked her up, no problem. Came back home, and the first thing she wanted to do was change. Unfortunately, it was rainy, so it wasn't like we could go out and hang out for a little bit and enjoy the sunshine. There was no sunshine. So we came back home, rested for a little bit, changed her clothes, and then I needed to get, a couple things for her school, mostly because they do things a little bit differently. They're supposed to assemble in the parade square every morning in their class lines until the teachers come and welcome them and, do the national anthem, the school pledge, the national pledge, and then they go off into their, their various classrooms. They're expected, if there's any downtime, to have a book at all times to just pull out and read, a storybook. So, obviously I didn't know until today, so I needed to go out and check her reading levels once again and see what I could pull out for her to be able to read while she's at school. So we did that when we went out today. We went out and got a couple things, stationery wise. She needed a folder to be able to bring her papers back home that wouldn't allow the papers to get all crinkled up in the back of her bag. She needed a new sharpener that was kind of covered. I don't like it when the blade is open, so I went and got a covered sharpener, a pencil sharpener for her. And what else? We got a couple fun things. I got a sweater for her because it's why they don't have AC in the classrooms, which is great. I've noticed that in the big halls and stuff, it does get a little bit cold, so I went ahead and got some of that stuff for her. I had to go over her schedule. We were presented with that today, and it was kind of cool to find out, what day she has what classes, and that way I know what uniform she's supposed to wear. She has two different uniforms. She has a pinafore type dress, and then the other one is the PE uniform. So whenever she has PE or PAL, she's allowed to wear the PE uniform to school. So we'll do that tomorrow. So yeah, that was basically everything, and we did pretty well. On the bus back home, she was starting to get tired already, and that was around 5 o'clock. And I knew that she can't really go to sleep that early, so I tried to keep her up a little bit longer. And by about 7:30, 7:45, we got her into bed already. So we'll see how well she sleeps and how easy it is to wake her up tomorrow. I need to get to sleep at a decent time as well. I think the lack of sleep is kicking my ass a little bit. New Year's Eve, obviously, we were up all night, and I was up until 5 o'clock the next morning because I wanted to get so much of my work done before. Sorry about that. I wanted to get as much of my work done before, the new year itself, but obviously it bled into the new year. So, went to bed at 5, woke up at 9 and made breakfast because I had, my cousins over for New Year. And so I guess it's catching up because I have a migraine creeping up on me. I entitled this The Streak because I'm kind of torn between two things. Now, technically I would like to think of it as season 2. It's a brand new year, and I was thinking about starting over. But then I'm looking at my SoundCloud account, I'm looking at my YouTube account. If I add this in, I'm not sure how to create a new I guess I could. It'd be easy to create a new playlist, I guess. But I'm not sure if I should continue under the Night Owl, just, as the Night Owl, or if I should continue as a Season 1, Episode 2, or whatever. Now, yesterday's episode actually entitled Season 2, Episode 1, because I've changed the logo a little bit. It's still the same idea. It's still the same name for the for the podcast, but I'm not sure if I should like break it off into a second section. The other thing is, if I continue the streak, like I've noticed Gary V's, the Daily V, that's over 365 episodes. So I know he's continued. It's like a streak. He keeps going. But the thing is, I took off on New Year's Eve. I stopped for a whole day and didn't do a podcast. It was weird to me, and I was afraid that, that I'd done something wrong, but I felt like it was something I needed to do. I wanted to end it on an even episode, and I was pleased with myself at that point. But now I'm looking back and I'm wondering, should I have continued? Is it right for me to break off? Like, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. So I'm curious, for those of you listening, for those of you who have an opinion, what do you think? Should I continue the streak? Obviously, I skipped an episode in between, so it's not really a streak. Or should I just go ahead and do it as season 2 and start over as episode 1? I'm really up in the air about that. I really don't know. Anyway, I had so many plans for New Year, and I feel like with January 2nd being the day that she started school, it kind of threw everything up in the air, and I had to focus my attention elsewhere. So I'm not quite where I want to be. I'm not quite doing the things I want to do at the moment, but I'm going to get there. January is going to be a little bit of a muddle month because of this trip coming up, because I have a lot on my mind. I'm trying to work through it little by little. I want everything to work into a rhythm of some sort. And I did have a rhythm before because of, the way school was set up before, the way, my schedule was with work, but I don't know what it's going to be like. Like, I thought I'd get a chance to kind of figure it out today, but I didn't, mostly because last minute I didn't have to go into work. So tomorrow will be the day that really tests the timing of everything. I know I have a big chunk of time between the time I drop her off at school and the time that I go to work. Like I said, I don't have to be at work till 10, but because I drop her off at 7:15 already, and for the most part, I've taken a shower. All I have to do is come back, get dressed, put my face on maybe, and then go straight to work. So I could, in all actuality, get to work by 8 o'clock. So if I get to work by 8 o'clock, I still have an extra 2 hours in the morning to get more work done and focus on, some of the things I need to get done for work. And then from there, like I said, they've been gracious enough to let me pick her up during my lunch break and bring her back to work with me so she can do her homework or whatever else she needs to do. And just make sure that, she's with me instead of in daycare. Now, I do feel bad. I did bite someone's head off today because I felt like they were questioning my parental methods. I feel like a lot of times people don't actually ask me how I'm going to do things, what my plans are, if I'm able to cope, until after I've decided and it's begun, basically. Like the process has begun of whatever it is I've decided. And it kind of makes me mad. It shouldn't, but it makes me mad because I feel like suddenly they're questioning my motives, my ability, my capability. It's my ego. I guarantee it's my ego. But I just don't like explaining myself and why I'm doing things the way I am. So I definitely bit someone's head off today, and I feel kind of terrible about it. But I've thought this through, and I've asked the questions, and I've made arrangements according to what I think is right, and it's falling into place. So I'm happy about that. I just wish that if you're going to be a part of that process, if you're going to be a part of that, hey, have you thought of this and have you thought of that? Do it before I have to make a decision. Don't come ask me afterwards. Anyway, that's just a side note. But like I said, so tomorrow I will actually really get to test the timing of things and see how things work out. So once I know the timing of everything, I think I can plan a little bit better. Thursday I have Periscope again, right? But I'm not sure what time, because before I was able to drop her off by 8:30, and there was a little bit of fudge room with that because there was no set time. She had to be at her daycare, and the garden outside was perfect timing, perfect location. So by about 9 o'clock, I was ready to sit down and do, a live Periscope. That was fine. I had that advantage. And then I still had time, if I did a 20-minute Periscope, whatever, I still had plenty of time to get to work before 10. At the moment, it's going to be a little bit more different once I get the timing of it right. I'm not sure if I'm going to wait here until closer to 10 and then leave for work, or if I'm going to get dressed, get out there, and then pick a spot out there. Because there's some nice places outside of my office as well, where I can sit down and do a Periscope outside, not really be bothered by anyone, and then go about my day. Like, those are the things I need to figure out. Then when I get back home, it's more like, what pockets of time do I have after I've made dinner, after I put her to sleep, so that I can get a little bit of work done at home as well, and still cover all my bases. So it's going to be a hell of a toss-up this week. It's going to be a lot of things up in the air. I know what I want. I just have to fit it into the schedule that I'm about to have. So we'll see how that works. I think that's basically it. Tonight, actually, by the time she got done with dinner and was ready to go to bed, like, I could tell she was getting antsy a little bit, and she was trying to get comfortable on the couch with me, and I was like, no, let's go get in the bed right now, because I didn't want to move her later. I felt like I was exhausted at that point too. It's not that I haven't woken up at, as early as 6 before, but I have woken up and I've been able to go back to sleep or do something like a little bit more low key, but today it wasn't like that. I was up and go and doing stuff. So, like I said, this migraine was creeping up anyway. So what I ended up doing was going to sleep with her, putting her to sleep, and then waking up. Like, I set an alarm for 9:30 so I could get up and kind of, clear my head and get to work, get this podcast out as well, and then see what other work I could get done. So, yeah. So one last time, if you don't mind, talking about the streak, let me know. You think it should be episode 2 of season 2? Or you think I should go ahead and pick it up from where it was and just go episode 162 from the Night Owl podcast? I'm kind of thinking, the more I talk about it, the more I'm thinking, yeah, let's go episode 2, season 2, and see if I can start a new streak instead. But let me know anyway, I'm still curious. All right, you guys, it's been a blast talking to you guys. I hope it made some sense, so as a business owner, what all I have to go through as things change. Being a single mom, having school start, having a new schedule, everything up in the air and upside down a little bit. It's a little bit more difficult than I expect, but I'll work through it. So thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you again tomorrow. Bye.